industrial desk in Annie Sloan's graphite chalk paint on the base here. And on the inside in the cubbyhole, we did duck egg. On the original desk, there was a stamp here that said number 5402, and we wanted to keep that because it was a cute little feature of it. So we stenciled number 5402 in graphite back over the duck egg. So now it's time to wax. Before I do that, I'm just going to sand a little bit with some 600 grit sandpaper, just to smooth out some of the lines of the stencil and smooth out this line, the transition between the duck egg and the graphite. Usually we do our sanding and distressing after we've waxed, but when you're using 600 grit sandpaper, it's so fine that it will catch all the dust particles. So you can do that without having dust flying around everywhere. So I'm just gonna give it a really light sanding. Also, I want the stencil to look a little bit aged because, of course, you know, we tried to make the desk look a little bit old, so I just want to sand it a little bit. Now, it's looking very dull, but when we wax it, it will come back to life. And I'm just going to sand here a little bit on this transition line, just to make everything kind of smooth together. Now, 600 grit will usually just sort of flatten things out. It doesn't distress too much. It's taking a little bit off here, but not much. Now when you sand over graphite, don't worry about this gray marking that comes up. You haven't dulled down the paint. It's just sanding dust, so it will go away when you wax. So it's time to jump in with the wax. On the graphite part, I really want to have it quite dark, and again, we're going for that industrial feel. So I'm going to use the dark wax. So I've got my wax brush and my rags. So I'm just going to do the dark wax directly onto the graphite. It's okay to do dark wax right onto chalk paint as long as you want a big color change, because it will soak in and it will stain the color. In this instance, that's exactly what I want, actually. I wanted it to be a lot darker and to have that sort of industrial darkened feel. So I'm just going to do a little bit here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of distressing. So you apply the wax to a small area and then you wipe. One thing I like to do when I'm working with dark wax over graphite is try to not go over the same spot twice, because sometimes it can pull off some of the wax. You end up with actually a lighter color. So just try to stick to your areas and not overlap too much. So I'm just going to do a little bit there, and then I just want to show you the distressing. Now, because I want to distress a lot, I'm going to use 220 grit sandpaper, because I want to get down right to the original wood. So I'm just going to sand here. And again, you can see that sort of really light gray marking coming up. Don't worry about that at all, because as soon as I put a bit of wax back over that spot, that is all going to go away. And I'm going to have that nice sort of light honey yellow color coming up, which is going to be very close to this, so it ties that all in together. Now I'm just going to jump over to the duck egg, because on the duck egg, I'm going to do a bit of clear and a bit of dark. I want a light antiquing on the inside. I don't want it to be heavy, heavy dark. So I'm just going to show you, I'm going to wax over that stencil, and you're going to see the color really pops up again. So again, don't worry when you start sanding something and it really dulls down. So on this one, I'm just going to do a bit of clear here, and then I'm going to wipe in my small area. And then I just want to get that little bit of antiquing. So I'm just going to do a little bit of dark over top, over the stencil as well. Rub it in. And then go back with my clear wax just to lighten it up a little bit. Just so it looks a little bit aged. And I'm going to keep doing that on the entire table.